Mother here. This is my third and hopefully final cautionary tale of bad intentions, and it's for everyone. Today's thought experiment is, let's play a numbers game, specifically ones and zeros. If I had bad intentions towards just about anyone or anything, and if I was a computer geek or even had an IT or networking interest, with time, the destruction I could rain down upon your head, your work, your city, your state, your government, your life is endless. However, my problem being I was raised in the pinball age. Computers came late to me in life, with the first computer I ever worked with was a Radio Shack TRS-80 when I was almost 30 years old. Anyway, the first computer hackers were MIT students during the 1950s and 60s. Hacking has evolved from mischief into a billion-dollar growth business. As the popularity of personal computers came to a peak in the late 1990s during the dot-com boom, so did the rise of hacking. The accepted definition of a hacker by the jargon file is a malicious meddler who tries to discover sensitive information by poking around, hence password hacker, network hacker. Hackers attempt to break into computers and networks for many reasons. There's criminal financial gain, meaning the theft of credit card numbers or defrauding banking systems. Corporate espionage or cyber espionage, when one company's hacker seeks to steal information on a competitor's products and services to gain a marketplace advantage. Entire nations engage in state-sponsored hacking to steal business and/or national intelligence, to destabilize their adversaries' infrastructure, or even to sow discord and confusion in the target country. A cyber attack is any intentional effort to steal, expose, alter, disable, or destroy data, applications, or other assets through unauthorized access to a network, computer system, or digital device. Which cyber attack method do hackers use the most? Threat actors use various tactics, like malware attacks, social engineering, scams, and password theft, to gain unauthorized access to their target systems. Criminal organizations, state actors, and private persons can all start cyber attacks. And now we get to meat of this discussion, which is cyber terrorism. The roots of the notion of cyber terrorism can be traced back to the early 1990s, when the rapid growth in internet use and the debate on the emerging information society sparked several studies on the potential risks faced by the highly networked, highly tech-dependent United States. The main aim of cyber terrorists today is to cripple critical infrastructure of a country by cyber attacks to further the causes they espouse for as a terrorist group. Their intent is to cause mass chaos, disrupt critical infrastructure, support political activism, or inflict physical damage, and even loss of life. Cyber attacks can have repercussions for victims beyond the immediate target. In 2021, the Darkside ransomware gang attacked the Colonial Pipeline in the largest refined oil pipeline system in the U.S. The attackers entered the company's network by using a compromised password. They shut down the pipeline that carries 45% of the gas, diesel, and jet fuel supplied to the U.S. East Coast, leading to widespread fuel shortages. The cyber criminals demanded a ransom of almost $5 million in Bitcoin cryptocurrency, which Colonial Pipeline paid. So where did they hit? Where are the cyber attack criminals attacking? If I had bad intentions, I would surely look at critical infrastructure. This includes systems essential for the functioning of a society, such as power grids, water treatment facilities, transportation systems, and healthcare systems. Severe consequences include widespread power outages, disruptions in water supply, and compromised medical services. The healthcare sector bears the brunt of cybercrime activity, accounting for 14.2% of all attacks targeting critical infrastructure. These include ransomware attacks, the theft of confidential patient healthcare records, and the disruption of care services in healthcare organizations. Our financial institutions are targeted. Banks, stock exchanges, and other financial institutions are prime targets for cyber attacks due to the potential for financial gain. Attacks on financial infrastructure can result in theft of funds, disruption of financial services, and erosion of public trust in the banking system. Or, how about energy sector, including oil and gas companies, nuclear power plants, and renewable energy facilities? They're all vulnerable to cyber attacks that can disrupt energy production and distribution. Such attacks can have significant economic and environmental consequences. Then there's transportation networks, including airlines, railways, and shipping companies, which rely heavily on computer systems for operations and logistics. Cyber attacks targeting transportation infrastructure can disrupt travel, logistics, and supply chains. Supply chain attacks are cyber attacks in which hackers breach a company by targeting its software vendors, material suppliers, and other service providers. Because vendors are often connected to their customers' networks in some way, hackers can use the vendor's network as an attack vector to access multiple targets at once. For example, in 2020, Russian state actors hacked the software vendor SolarWinds and distributed malware to its customers under the guise of a software update. The malware allowed Russian spies to access the sensitive data of various U.S. government agencies, using SolarWinds services, including the Treasury, Justice, and State Department. And here's my favorite list. Yes, messing with the just-in-time delivery system. The JIT system is a management strategy that has a company receive goods as close as possible to when they are actually needed. So, if a car assembly plant needs to install airbags, it doesn't keep a stock of airbags in its warehouse, but receives them as those cars come onto the assembly line. A chief benefit of the JIT system is that it minimizes the need for a company to store large quantities of inventory, which improves efficiency and provides substantial cost savings. However, if there's a supplier demand shock, it can bring everything to a halt. Now, when I was young, grocery stores for big buildings was only 25% of the store for the consumer, and 75% was for storage. Now, take a peek into the back room of Walmart. Their storage area is just big enough to hold what can be delivered on 2, maybe 3 trucks. Imagine the chaos if the JIT system was hacked, and it would take days or weeks to get all those deliveries out nationwide. Remember the Rona? On to telecommunications. These provide the backbone for communication and data transmission. Cyber attacks on telecommunications infrastructure can disrupt communication services, compromise sensitive data, and undermine national security. Think for a moment. If your cell phone doesn't work, how many of you will lose your friggin' minds? Government networks. Government agencies and departments store vast amounts of sensitive information, making them attractive targets for cyber attacks. Attacks on government networks can result in data breaches, espionage, and disruption of government services. Lastly, manufacturing and industrial systems. Manufacturing plants, factories, and industrial control systems are increasingly connected to the internet, making them vulnerable to cyber attacks. Attacks on industrial systems can disrupt production, cause equipment failures, and pose safety risks. My only, if not my biggest concern here is a coordinated multi-pronged attack on 3 or more of the above systems happening simultaneously. or just before a foreign attack against the U.S. For the love of God, you CEOs, business owners, and bosses out there, stop interconnecting everything. Embrace the air gap. But until it gets out of hand at least once, no one will heed these words. And while our country remains interconnected, it's just a matter of time before it gets crazy. My biggest fear in all of this is being the rise of artificial intelligence and hackers using it to bridge their deficiencies. Weaponized AI is malicious AI algorithms that can degrade the performance and disrupt the normal functions of benign AI algorithms while providing technological edge attack scenarios in both cyberspace and physical spaces. But that, my friends, is a topic for another day. I hope you found relevance in this Bad Intentions series, and it spurs your desire to prepare for what may come our way. Drop a comment below and share with your peeps. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you will. Until next time, I've got miles to go before I sleep.